Ads and business gurus, welcome to Circle Live, our internet talk show just for Squarespace Circle members. I'm Sam Z, one of your community managers.
And I'm Sarah G, your other community manager, and we are joined by our colleague Ariana Frederick in the chat today. Sam, we had an awesome conversation last month with Raina Dashevsky and Joy Liu, all about working together.
Absolutely. Fantastic conversation with them. One of the things that I took away from it was how to take care of your business partner even when you disagree. They told a good story about disagreeing over how an Instagram story should be displayed, and I think Joy, you wanted to make it one way, and then Raina wanted to make it another way, and then eventually they agreed sort of in a compromise that this disagreement was taking way too long and that they needed to move on to other things.
Yeah, I really liked the way that they talked about like sometimes putting their own needs to the side for the sake of the other person. I feel like we do a good job about that on our team.
We do. I feel like you and I have been working together better in the month since we talked to Raina Joy.
I agree. Yeah, exceptional communication, flawless partnership.
And fewer fights.
Yeah, don't air our dirty laundry like that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. We never fight.
Never.
Never. Not once. No, we never fight. We disagree and then we go get lunch.
Yeah, but there's nothing a good like hot lunch can't solve.
I think that's a great takeaway from any creative collaboration. Today, though, we are talking to one of our favorite people, Puno from ilovecreatives. Sarah, you know Puno.
Yes, I knew Puno, and I knew of Puno before I started at Squarespace. I feel like her work is like so iconic in this space, and whenever I needed inspiration for my own Instagram account, the Instagram account that I run, I would just go to the ilovecreatives Instagram and be like, okay, what are they doing over there? Because whatever it is probably I should just do that.
Iconic is such a great word because it really is. You watch her videos and it does feel like she's creating this whole world with all these symbols and ideas that it's just a feast of color and imagination. And yeah, you're right. She's an inspiration for anybody who wants to get started with social media, masterclass in social media.
Yeah. And she's so authentically her. Mm-hmm. Like all of her content feels like it is her brand, but it's also her. And yeah, really inspirational.
Obviously, big fans of Puno over here, and I'm very delighted to be talking to her later today. We're going to be talking to her actually about developing an online course as part of your business. So to that end, I wanted to start with a question for you, Sarah. What's a course, online or offline, that changed your life?
Mm-hmm. My freshman year of college, I went in to get my degree in computer science, but I wanted to become a product manager and couldn't find any classes on product management available for freshmen. I'm not sure they offered any at all, but I did find a class in the history department on the history of American furniture. I know what you're thinking, that doesn't seem relevant at all, but I was like, I'll learn how people developed furniture, a product, and I'll inherently know more about the product development process. We did visits to old homes to see the different legs of chairs, and I feel like I gained like a super deep appreciation for the intricacy and craftsmanship that can go into very seemingly mundane things. Yeah, what about you? Do you have a class that comes to mind?
Definitely along those lines, things that can seem mundane, right, but then change your life. Furniture, or in my case, webinars. I took a class at the end of last year called the Relationship Flywheel, given by a fella named Pablo Gonzalez, who actually in that class, I came up with the idea for Circle Live. His whole class was all about how do you create relationships with people that you offer online live video content to, not just by offering them a webinar, but actually just don't call it a webinar, call it an internet talk show, call it a conversation, call it something that is not just a one-way giving people things, but actually create a conversation with people. And a little meta, but that is the class that led to this show that you're watching right now, and it also changed my life.
I love that. We are living in the manifestation of Pablo's dream.
Absolutely. And gosh, I mean, once you meet Puno, we're all going to wish that we were living the manifestation of her dream. And once you see some of her content, the green screen stuff that she does, which we will not be featuring today, we might feature some cool stuff that she does. But I'm so excited for everybody to get to meet Puno in a little bit, which we're going to do in just a minute. But of course, first, today's episode is brought to you by a lovely Squarespace feature, which I'm going to tell you about right now. Today's Circle Live is brought to you by Courses. That's courses with a capital C and a capital, oh golly, where have you been all my life? At last, there's a place where you can take everything you know about building sites on Squarespace, or everything you know about bread or lizards or anything, writing poetry, bring all of that to the online course that you put on a Squarespace site using Squarespace Courses. This new product is not even on the market yet, but as Circle members, we are giving you an exclusive demo on August 16th, 2 weeks from now, featuring Senior Product Manager Adam Parks. Squarespace Courses, everything to learn and sell everything, and we are so excited to share it with you. Ariana, if you could please share the link to register for that webinar in the chat right now, and we will see you on August 16th. I forgot to mention, we'd love to hear all of your answers in the chat to that question, what's a course or a class that changed your life? So audience, tell us, what is a course or a class that changed your life? But right now, Sarah, who are some of the people that you're seeing in the audience? I know we got a lot of people who are chatting and letting us know things about where they're joining us from.
Yeah, from all over. Erin's here from Toronto. Poppy's here from Scotland. Nancy from Pennsylvania. Trisha's joining from Las Vegas. Truly all over the place. We have such an incredible global audience.
Such a global audience. It really is an international audience. And we have actually one person who has just answered the question in the chat. Chrissy has said the course that changed her life is Squarespace Design Course by I Love Creatives. And we got another one too from Ariana saying Squarespace Design Course by I Love Creatives. Promise Tangeman's course from Go Live. I know Promise is another Circle member who offers courses. So courses, the point here, I guess, is pretty inherent. Courses can change our lives. Learning something can change your life. It can create a new relationship with someone, and offering a course or helping a client to offer a course can also change your life. So without further ado, I think this is a great opportunity for us to bring on our special guest of the day. Everyone, please give a special Circle Live welcome to Puno of I Love Creatives. Puno, what's up? How you doing? Welcome to Circle Live.
I'm here.
Just like we rehearsed.
Nailed it.
Appeared out of nowhere. Puno, so delightful to have you here. I wanted to just share a quick overview of your website for anybody who hasn't seen this lovely layout and all of the stuff going on here. You've got so much going on this website, I Love Creatives. You've got community, you've got color, you've got quizzes, you've got pretty much everything. And at the center of it all, I want to point out you've got these courses. With so much going on your site, why do you feature courses? Is that because they're just so core to your business?
Yes. I would say 90% of our business. Well, not 90. Maybe if we include I Love Creative Studio, our agency, it's more like 75-ish, 75%. It's a lot. Yeah, it's huge.
And what was the first course that you offered?
The Squarespace Design Course, of course. Did you not know that?
The one that has changed so many people's lives. I probably knew it, but
I'm just kidding.
I do a Men in Black wipe before every single one of these episodes, and
I love it.
Try to
Keep
come
it
in fresh. Yeah, try to come in fresh. And obviously, we can see from the chat that it's had such an impact on people. Do you have an estimate for how many students that you've seen come through that class?
I think it's been about 3,000 for sure 3,000, but I haven't tallied it lately. But yeah, about 3,000 plus.
That's incredible. Puno,
Yeah.
I know when we met last week, you told us a little bit about how you kind of like knew that you wanted to start doing a course for this. Do you think you could tell us that story?
Yes. So it was because I was a Squarespace design freelancer, and I got to the point where I was making a good amount of money, but I was like not being able to handle the amount of work, which is a great problem to have. And so I needed to hire a junior designer, Squarespace designer specifically, put it on I Love Creatives because I had I Love Creatives at that time. And at that time, we didn't do courses. It was more like a Craigslist for creative people. We had creative profiles. And then I put the ad out, about 100 people applied, and I went through every single portfolio, and I felt like it wasn't hitting it. And I was like, oh, but like these 100 people are on I Love Creatives applying, taking their time to apply to this job, and I want them to get this job. And I think that like there's more than enough, clearly, if you look at how many clients and subscribers there are to Squarespace, there's a lot of people that are cool with templates, but might be ready to pay for custom branding. And so that's when I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna do this. But I hesitated for a while because I didn't want to be a teacher. I had some hangups about that, which is weird. And then I also didn't want to do an online course because I felt like I was like reading all the marketing about how you do online courses, and I was like, I don't want to do it like this. It sucks. Like it feels weird. It doesn't look good. And then finally I was just like, like, Puno, use this as your creative brief of figuring out how to make the course that you want to work or you want to do or you want to take. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to like put aside some cash. I'm going to spend a good amount of time, like 6 months, to like really work on this and make this the coolest course that I would ever want to take or something. So I did that. And then that was the first course. We spent about $20,000 on it.
Wow.
And I did a lot of extra things that I don't think you necessarily have to do. Like I used to work at Activision on Call of Duty. And so I really wanted to do like a 3D world with animation and gamification. And I don't think it's 100% necessary, but I just needed to do that. I wanted any excuse also to like make 3D characters. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a big investment, and I'm like so stoked. As like I told you, like now we had over 3,000 students, so it worked out. But I didn't plan for that, and I didn't think that that was going to be I Love Creatives' future. Like we are 100% like doing it now. Like we're calling ourselves now the new digital trade school. Like we want to be the new ITT tech, you know?
But you didn't think that you were going to lose that $20,000, right? You thought that even if it wasn't going to be core to your business,
yes.
I assumed that by investing that, did you think at least, how soon did you think you were going to make that money back?
I was hoping the first launch, that would be, because I was like, I think we can get like 30 students. If 100 people applied to that job, I'm like, there's got to be a percentage of them that would want to be trained by someone who they'd want to work under. So I just kind of like thought at least a percentage of those 100 people would do it. So that's where I thought. And I also thought in my head that I gave myself the budget of 20,000 because I was like, I think that 1,000 people want to make Squarespace websites because no one really knows that this exists. I didn't know. I had no idea. I didn't realize how much you could make. And now that I know, I tell everybody, like, I was already like personally training a lot of my friends that wanted to get into freelance. And I was like, cool. Like, I know you want to be a graphic designer, but it like really helped me to like niche down on Squarespace. And like, this is how much money I made. And like, this is the lifestyle that I wanted and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I'm pretty sure 1,000 people would want to take this course. And so, yeah, that doesn't always work out though, but it did work out this time.
How did you know then you were ready to launch a second course? Obviously, you guys have a full suite of courses that you offer now. After kind of investing so much in this first one, what was like the step to then do another?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the next one was, oh my gosh, I can't even remember anymore. Is it Instagram? I think it was Instagram, or it was the video editing course. I think it was a video editing course. It was the video editing course. So the next one was because I was like, I need to figure out like how to hire more video editors, full stop. Like, I was just like, because the Squarespace design course literally helped us like bring in more contractors. We worked with a ton of our students. And I was like, I want to do the same thing, but for video editing. Yeah. And so we made the video editing course next about how to edit on Premiere Pro. And that one didn't do as well. I'm not going to say it didn't do great, but it definitely didn't do as well as Squarespace did. And so we had to like relook at it, and see where we went, like what we could do differently. But that was the next one after that.
I love hearing about a flop. Could you say a little bit more about what the conversations were after releasing that unsuccessful course?
Yes, I think that for the price tag that it was actually half the price of the Squarespace course. I think that the piece that was missing was that most people who were taking the video editing course weren't actually doing it to become a video editor. I thought that was the case, but a lot of it was because people are wanting to express themselves, and video just kind of took off 2020. So we were like, okay, who can we work with? Who would I want to work with? That I'm like, how do you make videos? Like, how do you approach videos? How do you come up with something that's authentic, that actually is timeless? And like, how do you just not stop? Like, where do you get that momentum? And so I'm friends with Rachel, and we happened to go to Peru right before lockdown. And I just asked her a ton of questions. When Rachel and I talk, we just write a lot of notes. Like, I'll be riffing and then she'll write notes while I'm talking, and then she'll show it to me or text it to me later. And so we literally were like, okay, I was like, let's make this a course, because I feel like she just has a different approach. And it was the first time that I worked with another teacher. And it was amazing. It was so fun because I'm a UX designer too. And I was able to like tickle that part of my brain where I can interview and extract information and then kind of put it through my lens and, you know, my design and my like ideas and our team's ideas, and then create some curriculum that people can digest her brain. And I felt like that whole process was really cool and fun. And then that became a really big course after we added, well, Rachel is also an influencer, so there's that. But I do think that a lot of people took it because we did add that first part that was like helping people create a video and helping people, you know, get more creative.
Definitely. So to that end of getting more creative, I want to move a little bit to our next topic about webinars as a business. And actually, I'm going to do something a little bit different that I haven't done before on this show. Usually we wait until the end to take an audience question, but we've got an audience question in the chat right now that I think is a really perfect one, exactly where I wanted to take this conversation. Janaka apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name, has asked, how did you market that first course directly to those 100 applicants or a broader signal boost? Talking about, with that first course, first time that you'd ever done it, you just come up with a bunch of ideas and no idea where any of this is going to go. How do you even begin to think about creatively marketing that under your brand?
Yeah. So I had I Love Creatives since 2014. And the first time that we launched a course was 2018. So I had about 4 years worth of emails. And I think that that is so, so important for anyone to know, is that if you guys are trying to like build out a course, build out your email list as soon as possible. Like, even if you have a course, but you don't know what it is, you've got to like figure out how to build an email list. Like, that is like majority of where we did our marketing for the first few years. Like, if you scroll back, like our Instagram on I Love Creatives didn't really exist until maybe a year after we launched courses. So that was huge. And then also the ads. So I had been like dabbling with Facebook ads on my own, and I was like, I'm kind of down to see like how this works. I used to be in advertising, so I'm like kind of used to making a 60 or 30-second script. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this like how I would want to talk to myself. And I just kind of riffed and edited it like super weird and fun. And that ad, like, I'm so sorry that you have been bothered by that one ad. But that ad like really brought in a lot of people, and it had a lot of eyeballs. Another, just to like go to your flop thing, not all ads do really well. And like this one just did, because it was funny. It was straight to the point. It told you why you should even pay attention to it. It looked a little different. Like, there was just a lot of things about that particular ad. And so we ran that ad pretty much. I mean, I think we're still running that ad. So, and it still does well. I mean, not as well anymore since the whole pixel thing, but I like, for how much time we spent on that one 30-second video, like, it's been fruitful for us. But yeah, those two things. It was like mainly the email marketing list, that was huge. And then the paid ads. Oh, one more thing I want to add. We also, I don't do this as well anymore, just because we're working on it. But we would do a lot of emails that would be for the wait list that would talk about the course more, because it's an expensive course, and it's not like we have credentials. So people really need to like understand what they're going to like get out of this course. And there's so many questions that we get in customer support, and I literally will comb through customer support, take those questions, put them in an email or put them in an FAQ, because those are the questions. Those are usually the like catalyst for someone to be like, okay, that's what I was wondering. And then, yeah. So, a lot of writing. I've never written so much in my life. This is like, if you're going to do courses, it's a lot of writing.
Yeah. Something that you just touched on was the kind of like customer service aspect of all of it. And I think that there may be this like notion that you can just create a course and then let it do its thing on the internet, and people will come and they'll take your course, and then all of a sudden you're rich and now you're in Hawaii. Was that your experience? Could you just kind of like set it and forget it in your course?
A little bit, but there's always something to do. Like, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's definitely forget some, but I think that's like with any business. Once you start figuring out like things that work. Brendan asked a really great question of how do we build an email list if you don't have anything to offer? That is what you have to figure out. Like, that is the business, like it's, yes, you need to create an online course or you need to create something, but you also have to figure out the marketing component of it. And I think like, this is where it was too confusing for me. I would look at all this online marketing about digital products and online courses, and they'd be like lead magnets and blah, 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 blah. And I would just be like so blocked because I would like look at what a lead magnet is and I would only think about it in that way. But when I stopped caring about like those words and that terminology, because it was tripping me up. And I started thinking about like, what would students or what would someone want to hear? Like, what do they need? That's when I would experiment. And I didn't always hit it. Like there's still multiple times where we just don't hit it. And that's the game. Like that is business, is like constantly coming up with new ideas of how to tell people about what you're doing or create communities or, it's so much experimenting. Till this day, we are still always experimenting.
Totally. Just to add to that, one of the things I took away from that online course I took in turning webinars into internet talk shows, Pablo would say to us that with everything that you create, every piece of marketing, every email, or whatever, always ask the three questions: do I like this? Do I trust this? Is it for me? I think I have those correct. The last two, I'm pretty sure I have correct. Do I trust this? Is it for me? And I think that those two questions are really important. The trust and is it written for me really creates that relationship and that connection, which is ultimately what you're doing. I mean, the problem with the term lead magnet, I think, is that it presents this idea of you are this magnetic object and you are bringing everybody to you, but that's not really what it's about. What you actually are in business for is you want to offer something to people, be in service.
Yeah. And I think I think other people probably understand that concept better and like can look past that. But I just kept getting stuck in this, like, these are what typical lead magnets are. And I find that like, even just talking to someone, telling someone about what you're trying to do, and then like recording yourself and turning that into something has been really helpful for me. But that self-awareness of like, what am I really doing? Is this actually even helping anyone, or is this just marketing for marketing's sake? Like that's where it's yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, we know you love talking to people. You're great at it. We love talking to you. We are going to bring you back, Puno, to do some more talking, especially with the audience, in a little Q&A in just a minute. So we're not done with you just yet, but I am delighted by this conversation so far, and we're so glad to have you here. Thanks for being here, Puno.
Oh, you guys are great. Circle, you guys really made this feel family. I love the community built at Squarespace Circle.
Well, we're going to bring you back to the family. Your Thanksgiving isn't over.
Bye.
So we're just going to say goodbye to Puno for just temporarily, while we move into a little bit of another promo spot. First off, though, I mean, just a lot there to package. I've got my thinking cap on. How do you feel, Sarah?
I feel like every time I'm at Circle Live, I guess hosting Circle Live, I am like, I have so much that I want to go and do. Like, I have so many ideas. I have like 17 digital downloads I want to go create. I have like a newsletter I have a newsletter already, but blogs I want to go write. Like, I'm like, should I make a course? I don't know. I just feel like it is like so inspiring, and not to just keep talking, but like, she makes it feel, and I hope our audience feel this way, like not intimidating. Like, I feel like I could just go and do it, and like I have something to offer. Like that's how I feel like she made me feel.
It makes you want to sign up for a course on ilovecreatives, I bet.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, let's do it now. You know what I mean? Like, let's go.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be back with Puno, as I said, in just a minute. So if you have questions for her, she's going to be answering your questions. Put your questions in the chat. We will get to as many of them as we possibly can. We know that there's a lot of people asking questions, and we want to get to them. But first, a quick message from our sponsor, Circle Day. Coming August 24th, a special Circle Day Circle Live crossover episode. For the next Circle Live, Sarah and I will be holding a very special interview live from the Circle Day stage in front of an audience of literally hundreds and perhaps thousands online. We will be interviewing Squarespace CEO Anthony Casalena. Anthony created Squarespace in his dorm room 20 years ago, and he will be joining us live for the very first time to talk about his journey building up Squarespace from nothing. He'll be talking and taking audience questions. More info on that to come, so watch your emails. But if you want to watch the show, you have to sign up to attend Circle Day. If you have an in-person ticket, we'll see you there. If you don't have an in-person ticket, sign up for a virtual ticket. Ariana, please share that Circle Day link in the chat to register. Join us live, online, or in person. But now, the moment that we knew was coming. Bringing back Puno, and we're going to go into the chat to take a look at some questions. Sarah, what's a good question to start with?
Ariana is sending those over to me right now. I'm seeing a lot of love for the do the math worksheet.
Oh, right.
Is that yours, Puno?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. What is that? Tell us about it.
So it is a spreadsheet that I created before I started, or when I started freelancing. And it's essentially got every number that I needed to kind of like chill out my brain and my paranoia or like fears about freelancing. So yeah, it was, and it was also like the first time I really learned spreadsheets too.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. We're ready to go. We're ready to go with audience questions. Okay. From Alexandra, at what point did you move from freelancing to an agency, and how many people do you have now in your agency?
Oh, okay. So I actually even have the book Company of One because like I never wanted to build an agency. Like that was not my ambitions. I think it was more because I really wanted to like focus on I Love Creatives, but I like our agency, or I like freelancing because it keeps the wheels turning and I can stay up to date on things. But I decided to do the agency because I found someone in our Squarespace course, Mindy, who's our creative director, who I was just like, she's great. I feel like she's the kind of like partner that I could work with. She wanted to just focus on creative. I only wanted to focus on business. So I do just biz dev and operations, and then she does all of the creative. And I mean, I'm in it, but I'm not like in it. So that is the reason why we started an agency. We're still figuring it out, but we recently were like, oh, should we scale? Should we get bigger? And honestly, like this is like an ongoing question that we always ask ourselves. But today we're not feeling like we want to scale, and we actually want to scale back. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to do as big of projects, but it means that we might not manage as many people, because that part was getting really tough. Like it was getting really hard to do. And we want to be more intentional about it, and like not just necessarily like hire someone or bring on a contractor. We like really want to like bring someone on and like train and give the time to be their mentor, like you are, Sarah. And like, yeah, so that's where we're at right now. But it was pretty much, when did that happen? I think that was like 2019, 2020. Yeah, around then.
Awesome. So how many people are currently with you?
It's four-ish, and then we rotate a ton of other people that we work with.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. We have a question from Jean. What is the best place to advertise to start building my email list?
I think that, like when I first did it, I would just go onto Instagram and like DM people, strangers that I didn't know. I also wasn't like, I had like maybe 100 followers or whatever. I would just like literally tell people one by one. So I know that that's not what anybody wants to hear, but I'm also not that kind of person that does like viral stuff. Like that's not my first go-to when I'm doing something new. I'm like very much the Paul Graham, do things that don't what is it? Oh my God, I already forgot the name of the essay and I always quote it. Do things that don't scale? No, it has to scale. Anyways, Paul Graham wrote this article, this essay that was talking about like, in the beginning, you need to like manually bring people in. And the way I did it was on Instagram and just authentically chatting with people and then saying like, I feel like you'd really like this newsletter, or they would check me out and they would check out the newsletter. And that's how it started. So yeah, so sorry. I feel like people hate it when I answer that question.
I feel like it's actually
do things that don't scale.
I feel like it's actually like so much more helpful to do something that's like practical than being like, well, I had a TikTok that went viral and anyways, now I'm really successful. You know what I mean? Like it's so much more helpful when it's something that someone like could practically go and implement tomorrow. So
Yeah,
not as hot, but maybe a lot more doable.
Well, the other thing too is that when people are thinking about like their goals and like how many followers or subscribers they want to get, they typically think about it, and I did, linearly. So you think like, I want 100 this month, 100 next month, 100 the month after. But that's not really how it actually works. It's exponential. So that means the first part is just like you bringing in one person and then two and then four and then and it like eventually word of mouth kind of kicks in too if you're onto something. I think what's really cool is like Paul Graham told everybody in Y Combinator that like if you could do 5%, 10% week over week growth, then you know that what you're doing is actually hitting. And so I just like took that and I was like, okay, let me just use that and make it easier on myself and have like less crazy goals in the beginning. And eventually I'll get to 100 a month, but it's just so much easier when you're just like, oh, I only need to like talk to someone. Although that's not very easy for everyone either. But I was very desperate. I wanted friends and I wanted to meet new people. And yeah, that was like, and Instagram was incredible because I was just like, what? This is like people right here.
Yeah. How much more time do I have? Because we got a lot more questions.
I think we got time for 3 more questions at least.
Cool. I'm gonna keep going. From Christy, what is your advice for creating a course if you don't have a relatively large budget?
Oh, you can 100% build out a course like on your own. I at the time was just like, I don't have the time to build everything on my own. So I needed to hire contractors out for video editing. I needed to hire out all this other stuff. But if you're down to edit your own videos, you can do it for free, basically. But that was just like why I spent money, was because I hired people to help me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Question from Lewis. What is significantly different for someone starting out with courses now versus when you started? Is there a lot more competition now, for example?
I definitely, yes, of course. There's always going to be more competition in any good business. But the thing that I love about online education in general, well, specifically online education, is that even if I taught Squarespace, or sorry, actually, I'm going to tell a story. So we had a customer that was just like not into me, and I'm like totally fine with that. Too crazy, too many gifts, too fast, too blah blah blah. And I was like, you know what? There's like another Squarespace course that I think would be perfect to you. I actually recommended him to Kirsten Martin, and I was like, she's amazing. I've taken her courses. Like, I think it's just great. And so I think it's, if not everybody wants a bubbly personality, not everybody wants crazy designs. Some people want simple, some people want slower paced. And I think that with Squarespace, they were able to like have so many different people like want to make a website. You can, there's multiple ways you can be in this world. And so I think that the more you can talk about yourself as a teacher, the more that you can figure out what are the reasons why I want to teach people, what are the reasons why I'm going to make sure that this student succeeds. The more you can answer that question in your marketing, then you're going to stand out, and to that person that needs you. So I love that online courses is democratizing education, because now we're not looking at colleges anymore. We're looking at people that we want to learn from. And we're like, I love that person's taste. I love that person's cadence. I love that person's tone. Like, that's who I want to learn from. So if you're a freelancer or if you're trying to make your own courses, just remember that you're trying to teach someone, and there's a reason why. So what is that reason?
Literally so good.
I think we have time for one more question.
Cool. Question from Sinise. How important do you think personal brand is for products like courses or even just building an email list? What advice would you give to someone who's not naturally extroverted on social media?
Oh, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, just like own it. I have a daughter, and she loves Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel's definitely extroverted, but there's just like a really funny TikTok that she pinned recently that was like just making fun of her personality. And I was like, that's cool. But I don't know. I mean, there's just got to be a way. You've just got to try and experiment with things, but you don't have to have an extroverted personality to create a course. I 100% guarantee that. Like, you do not. You just need to help people understand why they're going to be successful after your course.
And I think one of the great ways to gain confidence in building a course, perhaps, is taking a course, perhaps with ilovecreatives. This is my way of awkwardly transitioning into the end of our show. Puno, I feel like everybody in the audience right now wants to learn from you. So, where can they sign up for your courses? They already know, but just because this is what we do on podcast internet talk shows, tell them where they can find you.
ilovecreatives.com.
Fantastic. Puno, this has been a tremendous journey. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're so glad every time we get to interact with you and talk to you.
So fun. Can't wait to see you guys at Circle.
Yes, fantastic. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us today on Circle Live. I don't know. I feel like we were learning about learning, and I learned so much more than I thought I was going to learn. What about you, Sarah?
I completely agree. We literally talked to Puno last week, and I feel like I could do it 10 more times and still learn more.
Absolutely. That is all for today's show, everybody. Thank you for joining us live. If you want to join the after party, just click on that after party button over the left-hand pane. I'll be there for the first few minutes of it. And we'll just you go on camera and talk about everything that we just heard about and learned about. If you can't join us, no worries. We hope to see you at Circle Day, as we mentioned. Just thrilled that you were able to join us today and to learn about Puno and courses. Hope to see you also in the upcoming courses demo. For today, though, and until next Circle Live, I am Sam Z.
And I am Sarah G.
Reminding you to be bold. And if you can't be bold, be italic.
Bye, everybody.